All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to jump into a time machine, metaphorically, of course, and look back from the year 2036. We've got our hands on a document from the future that tells the story of a technology that completely changed the game. So let's dive in. So, what is this thing? Well, it's basically a vision document from back in our time, but get this, it's written as if it's already 2036. It's like writing a history book about a victory you haven't won yet. I mean, talk about a bold way to set a goal, right? And they don't waste any time. Right at the beginning, they spoil the ending for us. This quote from a future archive makes it clear. By 2036, WaterAlive isn't just a player, it's the world leader. So, the big question is, how on earth did they do it? Okay, so first up, they hit us with the highlights, a message straight from that successful future they imagined. And the first number they throw at us is, well, it's just insane. Trillions of liters of water saved. No, that is not a typo. Trillions, with a T. It's hard to even wrap your head around a number that big. And of course, when you save that much water, you save an incredible amount of money. We're talking billions of dollars. So this was never just an environmental thing. It was a massive business win, too. It was all about smart, ruthless efficiency. And this wasn't happening in just one or two places. By 2036, WaterAlive had become what they called the default intelligence layer in more than 40 countries. Think of it like it became the Windows or the iOS for water management, everywhere. Okay, so those are the results. Pretty amazing, right? But what is this thing that pulled it all off? Let's get properly introduced to the hero of our story, WaterAlive. First thing you notice, they don't just call it software. They call it a living intelligence system. But the real magic is that last part, even with missing sensors or incomplete data. That right there is a game changer. That's the clue to how it became so dominant. So what does it do? It's all about this simple but brilliant four-step loop. First, it just watches. Then it learns the unique rhythm of a place. After that, it figures out how to make things better, to optimize. And finally, it proves the savings are real. Then, it just repeats that loop over and over, getting smarter and smarter every single time. And this really gets to the heart of its philosophy. It was completely agnostic. It didn't care if you had shiny new hardware or ancient meters from the 70s. It didn't care about vendors. It had one single-minded focus: results. Just save the water. All right, so we know what it is. But how did it actually work under the hood? Well, the whole system is built around this concept they call the intelligence loop. Okay, now this is the secret sauce. This is what made it all possible. Most systems need a ton of expensive sensors and a perfectly smart building to work. Not this one. It could literally start with something as basic as a PDF of your water bill. That's it. That low barrier to entry, that was absolutely revolutionary. And once it has that tiny starting point, it kicks off this progressive learning loop. It measures what it can see, but then it infers, it intelligently guesses the stuff it can't see. Then it optimizes, validates, learns from the results, and eventually starts automating the whole process. Each time it goes through this cycle, its picture of the facility gets clearer, and its recommendations get sharper. But you know, all this cool tech, all these data loops, they don't mean much without a why. And for WaterAlive, the why was huge. This was always about a mission to tackle a massive global problem. And let's be real, the problem is enormous. Water waste is often completely silent. A tiny leak can go unnoticed for months, costing a fortune. And the people who are supposed to manage all this, they are stretched way too thin. You've got this huge crisis that's happening right under our noses, but because it's hidden in pipes and underground, it's basically invisible. So that brings us to their mission statement, their whole reason for being: to protect water by making efficiency inevitable. And that word, inevitable, that's the key. They didn't want to make it easier to save water. They wanted to make it the default, to make it impossible not to be efficient. Okay, a mission to make efficiency inevitable. That sounds great, but how do you actually do that? The next part of the document explains their strategy. I love this comparison because it's just so clear. It shows the massive shift in thinking. The old way? You'd spend a ton of money on hardware, get another complicated dashboard you never look at, and then pay consultants for a once-a-year audit. The WaterAlive way just threw that all out. They said, forget the hardware, let's focus on the outcome. Forget dashboards, let's make it autonomous. And forget yearly audits, let's have continuous real-time proof. And really, you can boil their whole competitive advantage down to this one sentence. Competitors gave you data. They measured things. WaterAlive gave you results. It optimized things. It's the difference between a speedometer and a self-driving car. So what did this actually mean for the folks running these buildings day to day? Well, for a facility manager, it meant you could start saving money right away without begging for a huge capital budget. It meant you had proof that your hard work was paying off, and it drastically cut the risk of getting blindsided by a massive leak. And then if you go up to the executive level, the value was just as big, but different. For them, it was about having solid data to make smart investment choices. It made all that sustainability reporting a breeze. And most importantly, it gave them genuine confidence that their company's water strategy wasn't just talk, it was actually happening. But then you zoom out even further, and you see the impact on all of us. When you save this much water, you're putting less stress on our rivers and reservoirs. You're lowering the carbon footprint because it takes a ton of energy to pump and treat all that water. And what you get in the end are communities that are just more resilient. And I think this is the perfect way to sum it all up. After all the tech, the AI, the data loops, the final outcome is actually pretty simple and beautiful. Water is this vital resource that's completely invisible to us most of the time. This system, it made water visible again. And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. The whole success story here was about finding a huge invisible problem and using smart technology to bring it into the light. So it makes you wonder, what other critical invisible problems are out there right now, just waiting for someone to make them visible?